This is a loadout conclusion of Season 10. These are not my Season 11 loadouts, though most things I think that they are going to be the same after trying out some balance changes, and like the main difference is now that we do not have those dual packs because they are currently unavailable. But I just want to log the loadouts I used in Season 10, so I would be able to make a overall like 1 year loadout review in January. And so despite all the buffs to the aggressive SMGs and the S12 that we received, the VMP is still the best aggressive SMG for close range encounters. And my loadout, I have a gun hole for faster reloading while sprinting or sliding, and to hip fire while sprinting or sliding, and also toss the nade while sprinting or sliding. It just improves the mobility. And Skulker for better strafing because, well, this is an aggressive close range SMG. So like the lightweight linear progression of movement is not as important in my opinion. And well, the gunsmith, this is just my gunsmith. I tried some other variants, but this one I like the most. And pretty much nothing changes for this loadout and this weapon in the Season 11. Former main meta and still the main meta after the nerf USS-9. And it is certainly one of my main loadouts as well, but the difference here is the lightweight, because I'm more interested in the progression of sprinting. As this weapon, it is not a full-on close-range SMG, and I can get some mid-range shots as well, and it just, like, the loadout performs differently. And also lightweight is very good with gunho and equalizer. And the gunsmith, well, I'm using this gunsmith for the USS-9. I have some loadouts with different gunsmiths, but I think that this is just enough. Ram 7, the best aggressive mid-range assault rifle. It is only contested to a degree by the Peacekeeper, which is a more aggressive variant. But Peacekeeper has 10 less bullets and is less accurate, like the overall bullet aim assist is worse. The bullet spread accuracy is also not as good. So Ram 7 certainly has a solid spot in the meta. And the contestation of the Peacekeeper that I mentioned, well, basically I have it as a separate loadout alongside the Ram 7 if I need to be more aggressive. Or alternatively, if I'm playing with the Peacekeeper but need to be more accurate, I switch to the Ram 7. Not as fast, but still kind of fast, with better range, the best versatile assault rifle XM4. Now, I usually use it in like medium to big maps. I would not use it in Nuketown, for instance. I think it is a big mistake, because in Nuketown you should be using aggressive weapons, so kind of the line ends with the Ram 7 Peacekeeper and the SMGs, of course, but this loadout certainly has a niche. And here I have a Ghost because it is a versatile loadout and I will not be as aggressive all the time. And with the Ghost I can kind of situate myself between the BG and enemy spawn, and they will not see me in the minimap. And that is just a good strategical advantage. And the gunsmith, well, this is what I'm using, but I started to notice how different build is being recommended, so I will try it out as well with a 45 rounds mag, but I mean, this is my loadouts from the Season 10 what I used. Now, Oden is essentially an annihilator in a form of assault rifle because it has very good damage. And it is good up close as well as in longer ranges, but I'm using a Ranger Bearer variant just to have the best range build with better range and bullet spread accuracy, but the downside of it is that it is the slowest loadout that I have. But I mean, I'm showing you loadouts in a progression, like from the most aggressive to the least aggressive. And Oden, it still can compete in close ranges, that is the nice thing about the Oden. But I also have a separate loadout this season for a more mid-range Oden variant, because I mean this is a very good gun and I think that I certainly should be having two loadouts, but the second one I will be testing further and I will introduce it in the Season 11. And well, this is the Ranger Gunsmith, like I said, with the IKM combat stock because the light stock was nerfed, and this kind of just gives a faster ADS. And I mean, I have a Skulker, so I'm not as concerned about the ADS movement because I can kind of correct my shots while moving to the sides as I move quicker due to the Skulker red pack. And that pack, well, before the wildcard I didn't use it as much, but with the introduction of Greed I have it in my most loadouts, and I notice that when I play with Skulker I do a bit better compared to when I don't play with Skulker. Termite Manowar loadout is an absolute must against persistent users because you take down this Cosric super fast, especially if you pair it with the Blue Demo Expert perk, which increases the explosive damage, which includes the frag grenade that you can see here, as well as the termite shots of the Termite Manowar. And well, I'm pairing it with the GKS because it kind of just completes the whole loadout, well, at least from my usage, as it has 40 rounds mag and pretty decent like mid-range, good close range. It is a nice aggressive well-rounded SMG, and I would not use GKS in like other loadouts, but here I'm using it. I say it like every season. And well, the main takeaway is that you need a termite maneuver loadout. You should pair it with the demo expert, but all the other slots are completely up to you. Just you must have such loadout for emergency purpose. My former main emergency loadout FAJ with a firepower support pack and PDW for a good mobility, because it is kind of just a well-rounded good mid-range SMG. A bit like a BP-50 with better movement like compared to its prime time, but worse damage of course. But it also has very good bullet spread accuracy, very good to shoot enemies when they are hiding behind like crates, whatever, had glitches. And well, now I say former because it takes more time to shoot the rockets with the FAJ compared to the termite maneuver, where you just spray 1-2 mags and spray 1-2 mags and the score streak is down. But the benefit here is that you have a 70% chance to steal the destroyed score streak. So usually I pull this out not against persistent users, but against like wraps spammers, because if I destroy the wraps with like one ball, I can get the whole score streak for me. And I even have instances where I destroy like 2-3 wraps balls and each of them activates my own score streak. And so it has a super advantage in matches, but it is kind of like emergency purpose, like I said, because I switch to it if I see the need for the value of a FAJ with a firepower support blue pack. And like I said, because of the slowness, it is moved to a side emergency. The primary one is still the termite maneuver. I absolutely have to mention the HVK. After the buff, it became more consistent in killing your enemies quickly. And the main downside is the 28 bullets mag. Like everything else is great about the gun. It has good range. It is still very aggressive because of the fire rate and the damage of the mag. And well, with 28 rounds mag con, it means that you have to be, I cannot even say more skilled, but rather more focused, as you have to prioritize your bullets, you have to count bullets, you cannot just play without like any focus at all like you could with the USS 9, which is why the USS 9 is still like a top, more meta choice, but it got nerfed in the season 11, the bullet spread accuracy nerfed to the USS 9, which kind of does improve the situation for the HVK. And I'm kind of expecting to see more usage of the HVK in the season 11, at least I will be trying it out a lot more as well myself, because it is a very valid meta choice. I'm surprised why I don't see many players playing with it. Now, like I said, the Peacekeeper is basically a more aggressive RAM 7 with 40 rounds mag instead of the 50, but a lot faster reload time, better mobility, better ADS time, and I absolutely like it, especially after the buff when the recoil was buffed, so it is now super easy to use. Like I used it many seasons earlier too, but now it is just smoother, it requires less skill, so the skill gap is lesser, more players can play with it. And well, the main thing why it is not like in the certified top meta is the RAM 7, because it is kind of better in terms of stats and like accuracy, but you see, stats and accuracy are not always enough. So if I'm playing with a RAM 7 like I mentioned, but I notice that I need to be more aggressive, I can just switch to the Peacekeeper and maintain more or less the same playstyle, because we are both like aggressive mid-range assault rifles, but suddenly I die less because I can be more aggressive with a faster gun. And so it is just a slight alteration, like the playstyle remains, I'm using them in like mid-range maps, sometimes in big maps, but suddenly the results change because of a slight change of pacing. And alternatively, if I'm playing with the Peacekeeper, but I notice that I need to be more accurate, that I get more like slightly longer range battles, I switch to the RAM 7. So I think that it is best to have them like both alongside each other. You should not be playing with just the RAM 7 or just the Peacekeeper, but well, that is my opinion because we have many loadouts, and I think that it is good to have like two flex loadouts for the same strategy. I kind of want to apologize for getting tongue twisted sometimes, but well, English isn't my main language. And also I'm not making any notes for the videos, like I just screen record my loadouts and I talk about them, because everything comes from the actual experience of using each of these loadouts in ranked like many hours. And I think that it is a bit more raw if I just deliver it without like writing a script. And I mean, I kind of want to talk through the experience, because when I'm sure that I have used the loadout, I know how it operates and that I can deliver it to you. And now the chopper, well, this loadout comes from the Riot TikTok called guy who does not have actually TikTok, and chopper got a buff to the mobility. It is really good. Now for me, I'm just feeling that it is a bit not versatile enough. I like to have versatility in ranked matches, but I absolutely wanted to keep this loadout and I used it a lot because, well, the overall usage of the chopper, it is an LMG with a big mag with the disabled pack, and the movement in this loadout because of the gun-ho is also splendid, so I absolutely like to have this loadout. Chopper also got a buff, and I think that it is a valid choice to have, but it is not ideal in my opinion to main because it does lack versatility. Another loadout that lacks versatility but is very explosive is a shotgun loadout. Now I tried HSO and KRM this season, but I kind of prefer KRM because even though it is slower, but it is easier to use because of the slowness, and I mean they both can one tap, and KRM it kind of does have a bit of a better damage hit markers thing going on and better range, so I think that for a beginner shotgun player KRM would be better. And HSO also got a nerf, so it is now not as good as it was before, and I think that KRM is just a better choice, maybe even in the Season 11, but well, I started using shotguns more often, and what is great about them is that you can one-tap enemies up close, so you can have very explosive matches, like you can wipe out entire OBG, or just like clear some spots near the OBG, but the only downside, the lack of versatility, comes from the lack of range of the shotgun loadout. But I just don't want to use a pistol for like better range VGS because I think that it is unnecessary. I would rather try to get battles up close and personal with enemies when using the shotgun. And I mean, ideally I would use it in a smaller map where such encounters are more likely to occur. And well, I think that it is essential to learn to use it because one tapping all the USS9, VMP, whatever users up close is great. And I even had like 5 kill combos, well not combos, but like 5 kill streaks, whatever, getting all these score streaks. So I am in fact getting better with the shotgun, and I'm inclined to further improve my skill. Great close range assault rifle choice after the buff, because now the ADS tracking is smooth. Like earlier when I made comparison videos with VMP other weapons, the main conclusion was that tracking while shooting is super awkward, but now it was buffed. And well, I'm using it as like a variant of the VMP, but it is more linear in terms of operation because it is an assault rifle. I can also have some nice longer range shots, and for this reason we have a lightweight here. Alongside the gun-ho, well, more or less everything is the same as the VMP loadout, except the pistol edition, the Tempest, the lightweight, the Dauntless instead of the flak jacket, because I mean with lightweight, like I said, I want to be like forward progressing into the hot zone area, and then since this is an aggressive assault rifle, I can take some, like I said, a bit longer range shots, but also do well up close because it has very nice hip fire. Like there is no penalty for the hip fire, unlike with the VMP and many modern weapons where some attachment reduces your hip fire. So overall it is a very good choice. It is not as strong as VMP, but in certain battle situations it can be better because it is a bit more versatile. Now persistence, if you watched my videos earlier you know that I don't like it, but after the buff to the kill streak support, you can now have 2 expensive score streaks and more players started using it. Now what makes persistence good is that I have SAM turret and EMP like guaranteed, so I can use it against persistence teams instead of the termite maneuver, but the key here would be key difference that I use termite maneuver if I see that my teammates are good, and then it is just enough to delete the score streaks. But if my team is struggling, then I will be using persistence, because I noticed that, for instance, to unlock all the score streaks, 1/2 of domination match is enough, so I can play first half with whatever loadout I have, then I review the results, and if we see that we are lacking in results, then I can switch to persistence and hope to turn the tables and to not lose, simply because I can get the expensive score streaks. But the problem is that expensive score streaks are actually very easy to destroy. Like, more players are using termite maneuver or FAJ, it is not a big secret or anything. So if you don't have those loadouts, you are like years behind. I was using FAJ for about 2 years, termite maneuver for about a year after some buffs. So yeah, you must have those loadouts. And persistence, well, I kind of use as an emergency when my teammates are lacking. So termite maneuver is against enemy persistence users, and persistence loadout is pretty much to win against my bad teammates and not lose the match. And finally, Ribalo's double operator skill loadout. And I mostly use it when I want to play with USS9 but not my loadout, because this one you get these caustic points from your teammates' skills. So if you have a good team or a bad team that farms skills, you can take advantage from their kills and get the operator skills more consistently more times. And then you kind of just bank on your operator skills plus the meta gun USS9 to perform well and not lose. And this loadout, well, I cannot say if I'm a huge fan of double operator skill and the latching on the scores from your teammate kills, but sometimes it works, and like you can use this one, or you can use a regular USS9 loadout. Now, I think I still prefer regular because I have a really nice operator skill, not operator skill, but the skill overall setup. I have 4 different skills because of the wildcard grid, so I kind of find it to be more versatile. But it does require a bit more brain to do well with such loadout, and this one is a bit of a relaxation loadout in a way, because you just do whatever, you get the operator skill, you activate it, then you get another one, you activate it, and then you keep on doing whatever. It is kind of like persistence, but just differently wired. And well, this concludes the loadouts that I used in Season 10. And a thing is that Season 11 I do not expect any like major changes. Maybe I will add QQ9 to my more used loadouts, maybe the Striker, because some people said that I should try it out. QXR, but QXR does not seem very strong, but like maybe there will be some additional loadouts. But most of these, or even all of these, are keepers. Well, ASVAL is like questionable because you can just use VMP. You don't need to have ASVAL and VMP, but well, I personally like using it, so I have it at the moment. But everything else is kind of pretty much just core. Like, I cannot remove Termite and FAJ. I do not want to remove Peacekeeper because I have RAM 7, and alongside it Peacekeeper is really good as a switch option or vice versa. So yeah, these loadouts are my Season 10, and I think that when I'm going to be making Season 11, it will be a very similar video. And well, I always try to make this video short of the loadouts, but it is always or almost always long. And well, I guess I just have a lot to say because I really like playing this game. This is literally the only game I play, and I am playing it for 4 years now, I think, and I like it. So yeah, I have a lot to yap about. So if you watch it all, I hope that you learn something, and that's about it. Although I just also want to note that last 2 seasons I wasn't too pleased with the updates, so maybe I will make some video later. But I'm still thinking if it is worth to just whine about the updates that Activision is making that are just not good for the game in my opinion. But I mean, it is what it is.